Hey, Emerson, thank you for your time. I appreciate you joining me.
Of course, thanks for reaching out.
Awesome. Trying to guitar.
Yeah,
On many levels, you're a player and you're a tech. So it
exactly.
works
Yeah.
on both levels.
Yeah.
And I can tell why you're trying to guitar, but you're succeeding for sure. You've got over 14,000 followers on Instagram.
Yes.
Does that blow your mind?
It does. I started the page on January 1st of this year, so it's just kind of I don't know what happened.
Well, and that's an interesting question, but I think it has to do with the fact that you're sharing tips and tricks. And in this age of the internet, I'm finding as a guitar tech, every guitar will have a question that's like, "Oh man, how do you freaking do that?" Right? And on yours, I mean, I've saved a few of your posts like, "Oh, I need to remember that later," and it comes in handy. It really helps. It's like following an Instagram account, yet having an encyclopedia of knowledge.
Yeah.
Another avenue I can tap into for a tip trick, and you even say in your bio, guitar tech tips welcome.
Yeah.
That's very cool. Do you find you get a lot of guys saying, "Hey, here's how you do this," or "How would you do?" Asking you questions?
Oh yeah, I had somebody message me today actually. He's waiting for me to respond. I get people all the time from all over the world and
Oh,
it's
cool.
asking me for questions, tips, advice, you know, just anything to really get into it, which is really cool that I'm able to help them as well.
Yeah, it's a very informative, and you're getting into pots lately and explaining five-way switches, which I'm a Strat guy, and when you get into five-way switches for the first time, you're like, you have to think about the science of it and what's actually touching what and making a connection, and
Yeah,
you really explain it. It's awesome.
thank you.
Yeah. And you said when I reached out to you a while ago, gosh, back in August now, you said you had a mentor that you go to.
Yeah, he will deny being my mentor. I use that word against his will, but been to his workshop a few times. He answers my questions all the time. I'm actually like in a conversation with him right now about something that I encountered on a guitar that I have on the bench. Uh,
Let's go. What's going on with it?
uh, so this is, I don't know if you've seen one of these before. Uh,
It looks vaguely familiar. The body shape.
so this is what's called a Fender Performer. The headstock is crazy too. It's like,
What year
uh,
is that?
yeah, this is I believe it's an 85. These tags are actually like the original tags. This is,
Oh,
the guy
cool.
said it's new old stock. I wish I could remember the guy's name. It's kind of bad of me that I don't. Uh, the former Fender CEO actually uh, owns slash owned this guitar. I'm fixing it up to be sold, but it was like I guess sitting in the Fender vault since it was made. It hasn't been played. There are no pick scratches on it. I just took off the remnants of like the original sticker, which is crazy because you can. I don't know if you can see it on the camera. It's kind of hard to see. In here, there are like divots in the pick guard from where the acid from the sticker ate away at the
Oh
guard.
my God! Wow.
But what I think happened, which is really unfortunate, is that because these pots are or these pickups are resin potted, and I think with the bridge pickup they didn't do the right mixture of activator and resin, and
Huh.
so all of the resin that was in, or half of the resin that was in the bridge pickup just kind of melted out and seeped
Wow.
underneath the pick guard and seeped into all the wiring and everything else. And
And it's
trying,
been sitting in a vault in a hermetically sealed environment,
mm-hmm.
but not in the best of conditions because if your little wax pickups, those would have melted too.
I
Makes you
don't know if
wonder
they
how
would.
good is that vault, you know?
Well, that's the thing about it, and that's why I think they messed up the combo because the other pickup is fine. And I'm assuming they were potted at different times then, because I don't think it was a heat thing. I think it was just it didn't cure right. Because I've
Oh,
seen, I'm also an artist, and I've worked with artists who like work a lot with resin. I actually was with one of my friends earlier who does so much resin work, and she was like, "Yeah, that looks like they didn't get the ratio right. Doesn't matter the
wow.
temperature. If it doesn't cure, it's gonna."
Well, and
Yeah,
I wonder why they bailed. I wonder if Fender bailed out on that work.
I think it. I mean, it's very reminiscent of his time period, and
Yeah, it looks like
it
hair metal kind of,
yeah,
shredder. Yeah.
it very much reads to me as like, oh, they're trying. The '80s were crazy with the hair metal and stuff like that, and they needed to get something in these dudes' hands that they'll play. I don't think it really took off because this is the first one I've ever seen in person. I don't
It's
really
amazing.
know many people who know about this model. It's made in Japan. I don't know if they made American versions of this one, but
Interesting question.
probably, yeah, probably the most mint one I'll ever see in my life in person.
How did they track you down? How did that person track you down? I mean, is it just literally 95% of my customers, I found you on Google. I found you on Google. But in Los Angeles, there's got to be thousands of texts to choose from.
Oh yeah.
What makes you stand out that someone's going to look up guitar tech near me, and I've got this really rare Fender that I'm going to. How do you think they decide on you?
Well, I know this guy specifically,
Okay, okay.
and because because like I said, I started doing this when I started the Instagram page. So it's only been since January. This is not even close to being my full-time thing, unfortunately. I work 5 days a week at a coffee shop, 20 somethings to 40 somethings who that's where they all flock. And they
Okay.
especially flock at the coffee shop. So this guy
Right.
is a customer of mine at the coffee shop, and he learned of me through that. I chatted him up a little bit, but I think the trust in actually leaving it with me came through him looking at my content, which is, aside from being able to share what I know with people and like help other techs or help just people who want to try to fix their own stuff.
Hmm.
I love having this as kind of an archive to help build confidence in my clients.
Hmm.
Because
Hmm.
I guarantee if I just told this guy, like, hey, I work on guitars, and then didn't have anything to back it up, he wouldn't.
Yeah.
Because he's dropped off a few. He's a, he, this is what he does for work. He buys and sells and consigns vintage instruments. He dropped off what year did he say it was? I think like a 60 something jazz master with me kind of recently. And
Man.
he's starting to take his, really nice stuff to me to check out and give it like the thumbs up before he starts showing it to clients. And
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's awesome. And you're right. The Instagram becomes your portfolio. Like, hey, look how detailed I can get. Look at the stuff I can do. I can do a refret. I can do a bridge reset. I can do it. That's true. It becomes your portfolio.
yeah,
And being an artist, which you just recently told me, you were moving some stuff, some of your
yeah,
art. What's your medium? What do you do? Where can I find your art? Do you have a separate Instagram account for your artwork?
I do have a separate Instagram for my artwork. I think this is gonna be my first time like say Gretchen, please stop saying it like as
Is that your Bull Terrier?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
She hears voices coming from the phone. She has to be right next to me.
I saw what's her name?
Gretchen.
Gretchen. Yeah, I saw Gretchen on a couple of your posts. Yeah,
Yeah, she's
a cute
she's kind
dog.
of the ringleader of everything that I do.
Ah, okay. Where can I find your artwork on Instagram?
It's Emerson, MRSN, so just without vowels,
Okay.
and then the word stencils.
Oh, yeah, sure enough.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So I do with that stuff I do like it's all spray paint on whatever sort of medium I can get my hands on.
Oh, you're a pop artist. I love it.
Yeah.
You're a student of Andy Warhol. I can see a
Yeah.
lot of with the banana. Oh, that's great stuff. MRSN stencils.
Yes.
I really like the cigarette put out on the ground.
Oh, thank you.
Awesome. Dang. See, I went to college for graphic arts,
Oh, nice.
and I don't know how you balance being a barista, a guitar tech, an artist, and you're a musician. You're in a band.
Yeah, very poorly, but I
Poorly, what do you mean by that?
is
Or
is
you
kind of
totally balanced, like you're
yeah.
having a yeah. Okay.
It's kind of like a lot of diving into one thing and doing that a lot until, something else comes up. I'm working on, kind of rebalancing everything, because I haven't done like a proper painting in a few months, but now I have a show coming up soon for
Oh, wow.
a gallery in downtown, and now I need to like get in my studio again and start doing that, and it feels like more of a hectic juggling than like a balancing act.
Yeah, yeah. And do you think that if it were organized and well balanced, that it would get boring? Does
It
that kind of add the spice to it, where there's like almost a on the edge of hectic that kind of keeps you alive and vibrant?
it could. It definitely feeds the artistic side of it.
Okay, okay. Do you find music and guitar somehow? I'm trying to find a work of yours that brings a music element, but I'm not seeing that. There's a definite delineation of artist and guitar enthusiast.
Yeah. So with the guitar, actually, I played in high school. I was in my high school jazz band, and I was really interested in pursuing music. And I actually ended up breaking my wrist and getting about 10 surgeries on my arm that
Uh,
put me out of commission for a really long time. And
you
I
said that in one of your posts. You had your
yeah,
story. Like it felt so good to be back and playing again.
exactly. And I picked up painting as sort of like
Oh,
that passion to make up for what it was basketball and guitar. I picked up painting to sort of pick up where I had to sort of set that down after my surgeries.
mm,
And it music as a whole never really left as like a passion of mine, but
mhm.
the idea of me being a musician sort of had to separate from my
Yeah.
mind to kind of help me not be sad about it.
Did you think you would
And
ever be able to go back to being a musician, or did you think it was the end?
I think physically I was always capable of it, but my mindset behind it, because like I said, I played jazz. I went and I played at a pretty high level.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it was less of like being able to play music and more of like, oh, I can't do what I was doing.
Technically proficient like you used to be.
Exactly. Because
Wow.
I will never be able to do what I was doing in high school, unfortunately, but I can, now my band is playing, we're branching off of being kind of like a 90s grunge cover band. And
Mhm.
if you've ever heard or played grunge before, you know that a lot of it is not uh, needing technical proficiency. And I can play that
Right.
fine and I can have a great time doing that.
Okay.
Um, and maybe not playing at the same sort of level as far as skill goes, but as far as like being able to enjoy it goes, I've found a way to dive into that part of it.
Awesome. Have you ever heard of the guitarist Pat Montino?
I don't think
He's
I
a
have.
great, you might want to look him up. He's a great jazz guitarist and very well known in the 60s and 70s. And then he got in a major car accident and and lost the ability. For one, he had to rethink how to speak again. He
Mm,
lost the ability to play guitar and he had to reteach himself how to play the proficiency level that he played before the accident.
yeah,
Incredible rewiring story. And it reminds me of this. I can resonate with what you're saying, how that artistic outlet is it's in you and you have to find a medium. And that's
yeah.
pretty cool. So does that mean you officially took up art, or you kind of had art on the side and you know what, I think I'm going to just start focusing on this? Or did you start from zero? Like, I need something, I'm going to start doing paintings.
I kind of started from zero.
Wow.
done painting here or there when I was younger, but it was never anything that I took on seriously. And there was a painting, a Keith Haring like Banksy painting that I really wanted.
It's so funny because I'm looking at your spray can right now, and it reminds me of a Banksy-ish kind of.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah, I was like, I can't afford that. I can probably make something. So I just went out and bought a canvas, bought some spray paint, and made my own painting.
Okay, and then that's where, and then that was it.
Yeah,
That was the Kickstarter, if you will.
yeah. And everything, the power of social media, just as it has with my guitar stuff. I happen to know a gallerist who I didn't know was a gallerist who saw my work and invited me to be in a show. And from there, things just started picking up, and I was doing art at a high volume.
Wow, and you are in the right area for that because so many, and I hate to say it because there are a lot of artists that leave to LA thinking that they're going to make it, and others don't. But it's kind of a hotbed, isn't it, for music, guitar, art.
Yeah,
I mean, if you left, you'd have to rethink your entire
exactly.
portfolio. Yeah, I mean, you're in the right spot, definitely.
Yeah, it's a good place to be, especially since I grew up here. My roots here really helped me as well. No having to like dig around and find people. I already have a foundation, which is very helpful.
Well, congratulations on your art showing for sure. I'm sure it's not easy to get a showing in Los Angeles, right? You
It can
really have to
be,
go out there and pound the pavement and try and find.
yeah, especially in the beginning, it can be really hard. Um, Galleries aren't always open to taking on new artists, especially with social media. They have people sort of
Mm,
just blasting their inboxes all the time. So,
all that.
yeah,
How did this gallery find you?
I've been showing with them for a few years, so they work with a lot of people that I have painted with and shown with in the past, and my studio mate has been working with them for much longer than I have, and sort of like pestered them until they finally took a look at what I'm doing, and they liked it enough to invite me into their group shows.
Man, and it helps to be a social butterfly, if you will.
Oh
Talking
yeah,
to people with amazing guitars, talking to gallery, and just get yourself out there.
yeah, exactly. It keeps me.
It's almost like a job for finding jobs.
Yeah,
That's amazing. And do you think ever that you would dive into one or the other, or do you think you're always gonna, like you said, you're this juggling act, but
yeah.
do you think one might fall to the wayside? Like, geez, I've got 15,000 followers on Instagram for, I mean, you've got StuMac reaching out to you for giveaways and stuff.
Yeah, oh, I love working with StuMac. They've been so great to me from the beginning.
They've got so much of my money.
Yeah, they have a lot of mine too, but I'm
Yeah,
trying to get it back.
there you go. There you go. How did they reach out to you? Just all of a sudden you got a message in your inbox one day, like, what?
It's actually really funny because I reached out to them. I messaged them on Instagram and
Smart.
they responded, but the person who runs everything I know is very busy. She's one person really who
Okay.
does all their social media stuff. So she responded, and then I responded to her. I didn't get a response after that, and I'd say a week later I got an email from her uh being like, "Oh, hey, we love what you're doing. We'd love to work with you." And I was emailed her back. I was like, "Yeah, we were talking on Instagram." Like,
Oh,
so we
really? Like
both,
she didn't know it was the same person, or
yeah, I think there was like a slight disconnect there because she was emailing, but I reached out first, and then I believe what she said was like three of her coworkers or something, like in a really short span of time when my page was really beginning to take off, sent her my videos and was like, "Hey, you need to get this person in."
oh,
And
cool.
so when she emailed me, I guess there was either a disconnect or she'd forgotten that we were already messaging. So she emailed me on her own volition, not
Nice.
realizing that we were already in
Wow.
the midst of a conversation.
That's awesome. Yeah,
Yeah.
Dan Earlywine wants to meet you.
Oh, I hope so. I'm crossing my fingers to be able to go out there and do a video with them. I've
Oh, that would be so
uh
great.
been in a little bit of contact with Gene as well, who and just sort of really kind of ingratiating myself with these really amazing luthiers and techs who are, you know, apparently liking what I'm doing and sort of welcoming me into the community, which has been really awesome and really validating.
Absolutely. Who do you follow on Instagram yourself? Like I'm thinking of Dan One, and I'm thinking of I just interviewed Jack's Guitar Theology, Jack Brunson,
Hmm.
and he's another guy who's in the middle of a juggling act. I mean, he's a
Yeah.
store owner, a tech, a musician, three different bands, you know, and I'm thinking about really unique accounts, and I'm thinking about I hate trying to pronounce her name, but she's out of the Ukraine.
Oh yeah, Tanya. I
Yes.
think
How do you pronounce her last name?
I couldn't tell you, but
But I think everyone listening would know who we're
yeah,
talking
and
about.
she is incredible. Watching her videos sort of gave me, because I wanted to do this for a really long time, and seeing her videos and especially like with the nails
Yeah,
really gave me
yeah.
like the push to be like, oh, I can do this too. If she can like do this and then get it done well and have those crazy nails on and do it, I can do it and take what
I thought she
uh
probably, the first time I saw those nails on it, did she spill super glue all over her nails? It's all
yeah,
bubbling up, and but
and I think it's
amazing. And her
awesome.
support system is just incredible. And
Yeah.
being in the, thank you all your supporters for my generator. So now we can work 8 hours a day, and it's
Yeah.
just incredible what she can do in those conditions. A
Yeah,
real
she's
inspiration.
the amount of work that she has to do to get like half of what I'm able to do done, and the
Yeah,
quality and the like level attention to detail, like
yeah.
that's what I want to be able to do. And I see her do stuff and I'm like, how can I do that?
Aspire to that. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And
And
you know
all
what?
while filming it.
Right. And what I keep thinking is there's people out there in the Ukraine playing music and they need their instrument. I mean, really, in these conditions, someone has a
Hmm.
Fender bass, they can, wow, where are they finding the time, the energy, and the mental capacity to even think about music? It's just it's really inspiring on many levels.
Yeah.
Someone needs to bring her to the United States.
Yeah.
Give her a tour of STUMAC, give her a tour of, you know, and let her meet some of the people that she's been inspired by.
Yeah. I mean, it would be incredible to be able to meet her. I don't know if she knows who I am, but you know,
I'm sure she does. I'm
her
sure
her
she's got
shop
her eye.
her shop recently followed me on Instagram. I'm hoping to,
Oh, there you go.
yeah, but
What's the name of her shop?
I believe it's pronounced Takda.
Okay, okay. That's super cool. And does her shop post content as well?
They post content as well. They don't post as frequently as she
Okay,
does,
okay.
but they do a lot of like cross sharing of stuff.
Have you ever been to NAM? I'm thinking it'd be really cool to get her to come to NAM or something and have
I
her on
haven't
booth.
been to NAM. I'm hoping that I can go at some point. I mean, it's like in Anaheim, right?
Yeah, right next door to you.
Yeah.
Hello. I mean, come on. Well, this is your first year, so
Yeah.
I'll cut you some slack there, but you have to go.
Yeah. I'll go to the next one. I'll figure out a way.
And
Mhm.
when you and I started chatting on Instagram, you were talking about a Zach Wild guitar that possibly Zach
Mhm.
owned. Do you sing a lot of that? Do you? I mean, being in LA and being where you are, you're next to recording studios. You're within an arm's length of some studios out there.
Yeah.
Um, have you seen any of that kind of work come to you, or hey, this guitar was once played by blah 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 or owned by blah blah blah? Anything to that
Uh,
effect?
I've gotten some of that. I'm definitely expecting more of it to come, but I feel like just being here has gotten me pretty much off the bat a lot more unique guitars with history than most people get in, this span of time or more. Like
Sure.
even, like I said, even this one has a crazy history. I don't know if this one was ever meant to be sold, you know, or if it's just like an archival type of deal, but
I mean, if you were to look that one up on Reverb right now, I wonder what they're going rate would be for that one. Couple $1,000, made in Japan,
I
Fender.
think the ones that I've seen have ranged from a couple thousand to probably around 5, but again, those have all, you know, they're not old new stock. They're most of them have some level of like small modifications or replacements or this or that, or even just like, you know, pick scratching on the guard. Like this one doesn't have that.
There you go. Exactly.
Tiny chip finishes or whatever, or you know, any sort of wear.
Mhm, mhm.
This is like the perfect example of what it would have been.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's like right out of the like a ball, like a time capsule.
Yeah, exactly.
Emerson, when you got started in January, what you obviously were working on your own guitars.
Hmm.
And I have to ask, are you a Fender fan? Because it seems like I've seen you with a Strat. I think your live video on Instagram with your band, you're playing Flagpole Silver, and you've got a Telly.
Yeah,
Are you a Fender fan?
I do. I do have a Fender bias. My very
And me
first
too.
guitar.
Me too.
Yeah,
I do too.
my very first guitar was a Telecaster custom like Squire that my parents bought me in 2007 that I still have, that I learned how to do mods on. I still play it. It's in my rehearsal space right now.
Nice.
Really cool guitar, and just since then I was like obsessed with tellies, and now I'm, you know, older and my back hurts, so I need something a little bit lighter.
You hear Les Paul players say that all the time.
Yeah, no,
It sucks being an old dude with a Les Paul.
every time a
You
client hands me a Les Paul, I'm like, hey, you need to carry this all the way to my bench. I cannot pick this up.
So what are you gravitating towards now?
Um,
Being
right
a
now,
lighter guitar.
my two so here, I'll actually grab it right now. I have this
Oh,
really
cool! Yeah, visuals. Man, that is a really good Nomad. Is that a Nomad nut file set there?
that's oh yeah, the yellow ones.
Yeah. My
Yes,
God, you've
the
got
full nut file.
that's the full set.
Yeah.
Wow. Nice. What is that?
So this is a Sterner guitar. He's one of the luthiers I follow on Instagram.
Cool.
Uh, he does a lot of hand built guitars, but he's also started an import series to kind of make them more affordable, because I, as a barista and part time guitar tech luthier, cannot afford.
Right. Right.
You know, I can't afford this thing, so
Right.
he's made them accessible to like me. But this is very small body, very light guitar. And I love this thing. It's my
Like
only
those old
guitar.
radio.
Yeah, it's the only guitar with P90s. He actually custom 3D printed these knobs to sort of fit the angular body of it. It's a custom pick guard. He went in and did custom wiring. Four-way
Oh,
switch, so
sweet.
you could switch between series and parallel.
That's super cool.
Yeah, and
Nice
this is
neck
what I've
profile.
this is what I've been playing a lot. I love the kind of grit this guitar has, the sound when I play it. And of course, I love how light it is, because I'm not very big, so anything longer than 20 minutes with a guitar hanging around my neck, it needs to be
Super light.
it needs to be pretty light, yeah.
Yeah. What do you play through for an amp and effect pedals and stuff?
Um, so right now I have a Vox, what is it? The Vox AC10 like reissue 1C. I bought it, I don't know, like almost 10 years ago, and I wasn't really gigging, so I just had it kind of sitting in my apartment at a pretty low volume for a while. But as I've been gigging with it, I mean, it has some good power. It sounds pretty good. I'm running it through a pretty inexpensive pedal board.
Okay.
I've been doing, you know, I never did a lot of stuff with pedals when I was playing in high school.
Jazz
So
player, you really don't need them.
yeah, exactly. And I never really had to worry about the amps or anything like that. So I'm still
Mm,
sort of, working my way through that. I
mm.
got my first boutique pedal from another account that I follow, Kin Audio. It's she makes handmade pedals out of I think Portland, Oregon,
Okay.
and they're super cool. They sound incredible.
What does it
And
do? Which pedal is it?
I got the chorus pedal. She made a fun like limited release kind of gummy bear themed chorus pedal.
Ah, okay.
Um, but I'm trying to get and my sort of goal and dream is to have like a rig that's kind of made up of like people from my community.
Oh, that's
Like
cool.
I got the Sterner guitar, I got the Kin pedal. Um, I have here. I'll grab another guitar.
That's good. You're honoring the small businesses.
Yeah, like this guitar that I painted it. It's a Telecaster. Um,
Ah, gorgeous. Look at that thing.
so I
Oh
got
yeah, I
the
love that. The knobs, yeah.
Kin gummy bear knobs. These are what she uses on her pedals too. These
Oh, that's cool.
pickups are hand wound by Marcos from Space Llama Pickups.
Oh,
I don't know if you've seen the giveaway that I'm doing. He sent me another set to give to some of my
oh, is
followers.
it the pink set?
Yeah, the pink and blue.
Okay, cool, cool.
Yeah. But
Man,
something like this is like I almost see this as like a community build, bits and pieces coming from all over, and it would be so cool to have like a full setup or a full rig of just like stuff that people in my community have made that I'm able to support them as they support me, and
very, very cool.
turns
And
out
Jack,
these people make
Jack from Jack's Guitarcheology, he's all about that.
yeah, it's such a
When I
cool
asked
thing.
him, who do you deal with? Guitar builders and local pedal makers, and he just started rambling off a laundry list of all these small boutique makers. It's just really, really cool. And he's got them all in his shop, and that's really that's a it's a lost art for sure.
Yeah,
And there are people out there that you might find a builder that doesn't know anything about Instagram and he makes incredible guitars, and
yeah,
you're like, man, how are you going to try and get found? Or it's kind of, social media is really cool for sure. It's
yeah.
a whole new level of community that just didn't exist 15 years ago or so.
Mhm.
It's amazing. It's so cool. That's a great idea, actually. That is really good.
Yeah.
Have you thought about going retail? Um, I mean, where's your shop right now?
It is in my bedroom.
Oh, so you're like right next to you is your bed, probably, right?
Yeah, as I get up and set down guitars to switch off, I'm setting them on my bed.
Okay. Do you dream of a time where you can have your own? Geez, I bet you're thinking art studio slash guitar lab or
Yeah,
something, right?
something like that. Anything to get this stuff out of my apartment.
Yeah.
I'm like
Where do you do?
drowning in guitars and art.
Well, it's not even year one yet, so you're doing awesome so far.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yeah. And if you could, I mean, I know I happen to have a spare room in our house that I set up my lab in, and it is nice. I don't know how you do it to get to a stage where it's like, all right, I'm walking away from this guitar. I spent like
Yeah.
4 hours on it, and you're able to walk away, but geez, you have to sleep with them.
I mean, it is an upgrade from where I started. I was working on my coffee table, so if I wanted to eat while I was
Wow.
in the middle of something, it's the only table in my apartment. I had to go
There
stand
you
over the kitchen sink if I wanted to take a break.
go.
If I decided I wanted to sit down and watch TV, I had to like crane my head around the guitar that was staring at me.
It's determination. It's
Yeah.
determination. And you think LA would be an easy place to find a location like
I
that?
mean, it's easy in that there are a lot of locations. It's hard in that they're very expensive.
Yeah, no doubt. Where do you do
So,
your art, your paintings and stuff?
so right now, I'm renting a garage with one of my friends. Um, and we just do it in there. It's a little bit easier to kind of convert a detached garage into a space because I don't have to leave clients' guitars in those garages.
Yeah,
All
the
of my
insurance
tools and
ramifications.
stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. How many guitars do you see in the series of a week, say?
It varies. I've had as many as 7 or 8 guitars just piled up in my closet at
Yeah.
once, and I've had a week or two where not really much has come through, and it's just kind of finding the flow of it. Uh,
Yeah. Yeah.
but I'd say I probably get an average of 2 or 3 a week, depending.
That
It
sounds about
evens
right.
out to something pretty manageable for me,
Yeah.
that I can work on after work.
Where did you get your one of the big hurdles for me, and I love asking techs about this, and I don't ask it enough because I mean to, but I forget a lot. Uh, Price structure. How did you figure out what you were going to charge for certain repairs?
So I just kind of started really low and worked my way up as, as I felt like I was kind of at the level to start asking for more, and just, so testing the market thing is the same thing that I've done with my art, where you start at a place where you don't feel like you're fully cheating yourself, but
Mhm.
hey, this is building up to be more than it is, and just building up, and
Mhm.
if people are still cool with the pricing and they don't feel like they're being gouged, and you don't feel like you're sort of cheating yourself out, then that's where you
Right.
find like a comfortable spot. I
Right.
I try to keep my rates pretty I think as it is right now, because I also did research into what other people around me are
Mhm.
charging. My friend and sent me I asked him about pricing, and he sent me like 20 different price lists from 20 different shops, and mostly in LA, but just across America, and it looks like I'm kind of on the lower end of average.
Okay. Okay. And
Um,
so far in your first year, you feel comfortable in that space?
yeah, I feel comfortable in that space, and I also, I don't think I'm gonna get rich doing this. I'm not trying to get rich doing this. My
Mhm.
my favorite thing about it is just the same with like why I have the Instagram page, is like being able to help people, because
Cool.
guitar repair and guitar maintenance isn't cheap, especially if somebody bring me a guitar and they just want to set up and they realize like, oh, all my frets are, unseated or this or that, and it gets really
Mhm.
expensive really quickly, and
Mhm.
I just want people to be able to play their instruments,
Mhm.
and
So
I want to make it as affordable, or as I
there's a
can, really, without burning myself out for no reason.
Yeah, that's the noble part of this cause, is knowing that you're helping musicians along their journey.
Hmm.
And I think a lot of it's hard to, I think I have to keep reminding myself of that.
It can be
It,
hard, especially like with some of the personalities we run into, but
yeah,
then you get the every once in a while, like, and I try not to let myself get jaded, especially like working at a coffee shop, because I
oh, but you
spent
see all types as a barista.
yeah, and it's
Sure,
very easy for them to kind of dismiss me as a person. So it's just like
right.
all day of like people being kind of asses.
Yeah, yeah. So
So I try,
I'll bet you build up a thicker skin, right?
yeah, and that's been really helpful for me as well. But I always try to not get too jaded and keep compassion, so that when somebody's like telling me that they need something and they give me their budget and it feels like it's really low, I'm not just like, oh, you don't understand what any of the whatever. And it's just like,
Yeah,
yo, this is this guy's only instrument, and he just wants it to work.
right,
And
right,
like, I want to help him out.
right,
I want to
right,
help this person out. They're not trying to like be sketchy with me. They're just telling me what they can do. And
right.
it's so
And
easy.
you're a musician. You've been there.
A large part of why I got into doing this too, because when I learned how, because like I said, I got my first guitar in 2007. I didn't know what intonation was until probably 10 years later.
I
And then
bet you
when I,
hate that. Don't you hate that? I don't know. I've been playing guitar for a long time, and I for the longest time didn't know what intonation was. And I can't believe I went so long without an intonated guitar. I knew I hated playing the G chord because it
yeah,
sounded like shit. And I
yeah,
just like, well, I'll just play other chords besides. I'll play the bar G. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Just trying to work around it. But I
Yeah.
admit that I didn't know that really basic because we didn't have anyone to, you know,
Exactly.
I mean, I started a long time ago. I don't even want to date myself, but there, the only resources were Guitar Player magazine, and no one talked about that stuff. All they
Yeah.
talked about was, here's the tablature notation to eruption, crap like that. And you're like, am I ever going to get to that level? I mean,
Yeah, exactly.
or what is it? And I suddenly did an article on intonation. You're like, that's too complex. That's math. I can't figure that out.
Yeah. But yeah, and then as I started learning more and more about like the different aspects, I'm like, oh, okay, I need to either learn how to intonate my guitar or pay somebody to do it for me. And I can't afford to pay somebody to do it for me because I'm, you know, 19 years old. And then I learned about why my frets were buzzing. I was like, I can't pay somebody to level and crown my guitar. Like, are you kidding me? And it's just, yeah, not
What do you
everybody's
think?
able to pay somebody to do it, but also not everybody's able to like do it themselves. So I'm trying to kind of be that person who can help, like, not just the people who have all of the money to be able to do whatever they want, but
Right.
everybody deserves to have instruments that play well and feel good.
That's true. That's true. And I always find that the most uh, what's the word I'm looking for? The most in need of repair musicians, they always end up being the repeat customers. They're like,
Yeah,
I never need this, but I have like 5 other guitars. I'm really happy with what you did. And then they become the return customers. They're like, this person appreciated me. They're inexpensive, which is obviously a comeback. But they always end up being the nicest repeat customers, and because they're the
yeah,
most appreciative.
yeah.
And if they don't have to go to Guitar Center and get charged up the wazoo for
For
really
them to
crappy work,
break their guitars.
yeah. So speaking of competition, how many techs are around you within, say, a 5 mile radius?
Uh, the only one that I know of, and maybe I should pay a little bit more attention to this because I
And you don't
haven't.
have to. You don't have to name names if you don't want to. And if
Oh,
you
I
do,
mean,
you
I
can.
don't have, even I think competition is like not even the right word because
Sure.
everyone who I know of has been very like forthcoming with information and helpful. So the only other person that I know who is like close to me is this really cool guy. Yeah, and he's an incredible. I think he's also self-taught. The whole like rubber bridge blow up that's happened is heavily accredited to him. And his shop is incredible as well. Unfortunately, it opens an hour after I get off work, so I don't go very often. I need to talk. I have his number. Maybe I'll text him and tell him to start opening earlier so I can stop in. But
Call in sick one day.
yeah, I haven't spent like a lot of time, scouting my competition, and
Right.
I air
And
quote it just in case anybody's listening.
yeah, right.
Uh, well, I also just feel like there's enough, because there's enough, especially out here, there are enough clients to kind of go around. Um, and if you sort of try to work with the people who are around you, but we want our clients to be happy. And if passing people on to other people who we find like competent enough to handle it is what to do, then we'll all take care of each other. Like, I don't need to fight somebody else in the area for a guitar repair when I'm like in an area that's saturated with musicians who need guitar repairs.
Mm-hmm. Do you find that you run into jobs where you were able to outsource to someone else? Like, I don't know how to do an echo set on a Martin, but I do
Yeah.
know this. Yeah, you have those kind of go-to people.
Yeah, I've had that kind of stuff. I've if I once I get a more substantial space, I've done Taylor neck resets because they have this shim, the whole shim setup,
Yeah.
but I
Did
can't
you take
heat.
the Taylor course on how to do that? I get it. There's a whole course you can take, and
Oh,
they
is
send you
there?
the whole. Yeah. I had Glinsky of Glinsky Customs. He's like episode 3 or something. He's out of Austin, Texas. And he and I were talking on the phone one day. He's kind of my go-to answer man. He's really good
Hmm.
at what he does. And well, yeah, Patrick, I actually went through the whole training school and I worked at this music store repairing guitars all day. And they send you a whole box, the Taylor box.
Yeah,
And
I
it
got that.
has, oh, how did you get that?
I asked them for it.
Well, then I'm going to ask him for it because he had me believing you have to go through the course to get the box.
Well, they want to make sure that you're able to do it, that you know
Right.
how to do it. And you just kind of have to like let them know, like, I know how to do this. I'm not gonna like butcher your stuff. Here's the other stuff that I've done. Here's whatever.
You're so good at networking. I'm so envious of your networking skills. But yeah,
This,
and it has the labels, it has
yeah,
the shims,
it has all the
and I own a
tools. Yeah.
Taylor. I own a Taylor, and I'm like, I'm gonna probably have to reset that next Sunday. I should probably learn how to do it. So if I
Yeah.
reach out to them and say, can you send me I'm at Repair Tech, and I'd love to. So did you reset? Have you reset a neck before you reached out to them?
I reset a neck on a 12-string Taylor, and
Okay.
again, and this is why I refer to him as my mentor, even though he will heavily deny it. I don't know if he's like embarrassed of me or what. No, but anytime anytime I ask my go-to question guy about stuff, or if I'm trying to like pass on stuff that I think I can't do or whatever, he'll be like, "Oh, you can totally do that. Just do it. And if you feel like you can't do it, come over to my shop, bring the guitar here, and we'll do it together, and I'll, make sure that you know how to do it."
Oh wow, that's
And so
cool.
yeah, that sounds pretty mentory to me. But
That's a mentor, whether he
yeah.
says it or not. Yeah.
Um so it's that's also been a really cool thing. It's been a really great sort of like learning blanket for me, like safety blanket for me. Uh but yeah, I've done the Taylor neck reset. I've done
Okay.
Oh, and that's why I was bringing it up, because oftentimes when I feel like maybe something is a little bit too far ahead for me to be able to do, and I try to pass it on to somebody, sometimes I will have to pass it on, but uh, it's that same thing. And there are a few guys like that. Instead of just kind of letting me be like, oh, I don't know how to do this and throw my hands up, these guys have
Mhm.
been pushing me to actually learn it, and pretty much everything is fixable.
How do you? Well, that's true, and that's the cool thing about this. You look at, you know, you look at a task, and you're like, I can't say no because everything can be done.
Yeah.
Really,
If I
the
learn how
only
to fix if I learn how to fix what can potentially go wrong, and luckily nothing has gone wrong, and I don't really do a lot of it, experimenting with clients' guitars. I have a lot of sacrificial guitars here that I'll test on first.
I love asking this question of techs, and this is and I you're probably in the same because I've been doing this a year, just a little over
Mhm.
a year, so we're kind of in the same boat. Uh, it's kind of cool that every bit of profit that I was getting at the beginning, I'm like, oh, now I get to buy, and you build your repertoire, right?
Yeah.
Now I get to buy the C clamps so I can start doing bridge resets, et cetera, et cetera. What's your go-to tool? What's your favorite tool of your entire toolbox?
Honestly, and it's such a simple tool, but I just got a second one too to keep in my rehearsal space.
Well, there you go. Oh, perfect. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I
It's,
have to say, and I'm a neat freak. I'm always once I'm done with using the tool, and I can tell that yours are very organized, that I'll put my tool away. This one, I started putting it away when I first started doing this, and then why? I keep having to go back and get it. I keep going.
yeah. Well, that kind of pulls into play my second probably most used thing is these like magnetic bowls.
Yeah,
I have
that's
them
awesome.
stuck up top, and if I have to switch between bits a lot, instead of putting it back into here, I just throw it up in the bowl, and then
Ooh,
I can
that's a
pull it
really
down.
good. I like that.
And I have a few of them. I need to get more. I don't need to get more, but my brain tells me that I need to get more,
Of course.
because right now I have my screws for this performer in here when I want to have them in one of these, and I try to keep a magnetic bowl per client so that I can kind of switch out without having to worry about mixing up hardware. But
Nice.
the magnetic bowl and the screwdriver set are probably what get used the most in because I'm
And
gonna need the screwdriver for any job that I do essentially.
absolutely, absolutely. And it's funny because someone was asking, we were talking about it, and they said, what my favorite tool is? The toothpick. I swear to God, I use the toothpick for like 5 different tasks. Shoring up a hole for
Yeah,
a strap button, or putting glue in a tight space, or scraping glue off of something, or
yeah,
it's like the simple toothpicks. And I have a little dumb jar of toothpicks.
yeah. I got toothpicks, I got razor blades, I got a
Exactly.
whole bunch of little dumb, Q-tips, thing of Q-tips, I got cotton rounds, all of these just really normal household
And
items.
I blame Dan Earlywine because that guy is the master of. So I was, looking at this, whatever it was, and I repurposed it to do this.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that's ingenious. That's so cool. And there's even a video of him, and I don't remember what he was doing. He's like, sometimes saliva works as a good solvent.
I've seen that one.
And I'm like, does he keep a little jar of his own spit in the side?
Yeah.
Well, and I have to say, Emerson, that's one of the benefits of having your lab in your bedroom is the need of organization. It's like,
Yeah.
get this shit out of the way, get it off to the side in its own place. And yeah, you've got a holster for every set of pliers, your calipers.
Yeah. I got a little toolbox underneath the bench. I try to keep it all in here so that I don't have to look at it out there.
Exactly. So when you do walk away from your, I mean, it's such a weird question, but it flashed in my mind. When you walk away from your art and you walk away from guitar, do you have any other hobbies that take up your time that, I need to decompress from the art gallery, I need to decompress from being a musician? Or is that it? Is that pretty much it?
I think that's mostly what I'm doing. I try to
I don't think you have room for anything else.
yeah, I don't have a lot of room for anything. I try to squeeze in space. I want to learn how to work on amps. I want to learn how to build pedals, but it's all sort of orbiting around the stuff that I already do. I just got a breadboard so that I can start learning how to wire pedals. I just got a Mojotone pickup winder so I can start learning how to make and repair pickups. It's all, it's all sort of like pouring into the same cup type of deal, but it is different.
Yeah. But once you open up that lab, man, you're going to be like the go-to person.
I hope so.
Yeah, absolutely. Your band is it? Are you in one band? Is it Joy Thief?
I am. Yeah, I'm the guitarist for Joy Thief.
Cool. And you have a bass player, a singer, and a drummer, right? Just 4-piece.
Yeah, there's just 4 of us.
Cool. And you guys, I saw Flagpole Sitta. And do you do any originals?
Yeah, right now we have 3 originals that we've been performing. And we're kind of halfway through another song. I have some stuff written. I think everybody in the band has some stuff written, and we're just working through, like, taking turns throwing our songs into the pot and balancing live shows. We still haven't recorded anything yet, so we're trying to set up a recording session.
Cool.
Writing sessions. Just, I've only been doing the band. I think I joined the band, what is it, September? Just over a year ago.
Okay.
So.
Wow, very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wish I had the time for a band for sure.
I don't.
Yeah, yeah, right. No, you don't. You just do it anyway.
Yeah.
Do you find yourself trying to gravitate back to jazz? Do you find yourself listening to jazz? I'm a huge jazz fan, and I love talking with jazz guitarists because we're such a small breed of people. And when you were into jazz, who did you listen to? Who influenced you?
Well, it was an interesting sort of deal because the only bands that my school had were jazz bands. So if I wanted to play music with my school, I had to join a jazz band. Instead of it being like I want to play jazz, I was just in middle school because my middle school and high school were the same school, just on different campuses. So
Okay.
in middle school, we had the pop ensemble band, so we were just
Yeah.
playing whatever popular covers there were at the time. And then when I went to high school, I was like, cool, I want to join the band again. They're like, okay, you have to learn music theory and learn how to play jazz then, and we'll place you in a band based on your level.
Wow.
And I was however old you are in high school, I was like 13, I think. I didn't
Okay.
know anything about jazz.
Yeah, right.
They gave me the chord charts and I was like, these all look like they're not supposed to be playable. And
Right, right.
um but we played kind of we did write a few songs as bands too. It wasn't like big band, it was each band had two guitarists, whatever specialty instrument there was. I was in the sax band, so we had two alto sax and a baritone sax, a
And
bass player.
you played
Huh?
sax or guitar?
No, I didn't play sax.
Oh, I got you.
The other
Okay.
kids played it,
Okay.
but a drummer and a keyboardist.
But that jazz foundation, do you think it's made you more of a, not only technically more like, you think outside of the rock box, the rock pop box, right?
Yeah.
Because we know guitarists out there that are in rock, but can play fusion, can play jazz, and it just, do you think that gave you a really good foundation and a broader horizon as a player?
It definitely has. It's also helped me a lot in sort of my ability to I can play by ear pretty well now as well. Because I was very resistant to learning theory. So instead of reading the music, I played it by ear.
Did you faked it all the way through jazz band?
Pretty much, yeah. I mean, I did have to technically take the classes, but
As long as the chart said we're in the key of B major, D minor, and you just went with that, or
kind of. I mean, the band would play it through, and I'd listen to what they were doing and do it. And the other really cool thing about that I think I picked up from there, which helped me with writing, I think it helped me with my sort of like ear training, is we had to do a lot of improv in that band.
cool. Very cool.
So we'd be playing and obviously, long songs, everybody solos, this or that.
Cool.
And they didn't let us write anything. I mean, if I wanted to, I guess I could have like sat down and planned something out, but it was always just we'd sit for an hour and a half in the trailer playing our songs. The teacher would be sitting in the middle, and when it got to the solo section, he'd randomly pick somebody, point them out, and tell them to solo. And then when we were on stage performing, that was the same way that we did it. So it really helped me sort of build up those chops and learn my way around the fingerboard a little bit more and
Absolutely.
kind of think ahead while I'm playing instead of just playing what's in front of me.
Sure. Do you find, and so you found that has trickled into Joy Thief and what you guys are doing with your originals?
I think it has. I think just as far as kind of being able to come up with stuff overall.
Right.
And I think kind of the sound that I had while I was playing jazz in high school is finding its way into what I'm doing now, especially, we're writing songs. They're not like huge guitar solos, but they have little solos in them or little licks in them. And I don't think that's something that I would have developed on my own had I not had the history of being forced to improvise solos on the spot.
Yeah, no doubt. It's a definite confidence builder for sure.
Yeah.
Man. So who did you, when you were being wedged into the jazz realm, who did you listen to? Like, man, if I want to get good at jazz guitar, pick up Joe Pass or pick up, or who was it that you would listen to? Like,
I did like Joe Pass. It was
did you play a telly? Were you playing your telly in jazz band?
For my jazz band, we actually had instruments that were in the trailer.
What guitar did they give you with?
I don't remember what it was. I just remember it was some sort of. It might have been an Ibanez. I don't even know. It was so long ago.
Like a hollow body.
not a hollow body. It was a solid body kind of. I only remember the gold one. There was a gold one, but this was probably 12, 13 years ago. I don't,
If you look back on it, it's probably a POS, right? Or was it a relatively good guitar?
I think it was a relatively good guitar. I had the, I think I'd mentioned I had the privilege of being able to go to like a very, very music oriented school. My school campus was funded by Herb Alpert. So
Oh, super cool.
the music
Wow.
program was kind of like the crown jewel of it.
Wow.
So I know that while it may not have been like the absolute best gear, it was definitely, they put a lot of emphasis on it. When we played shows, we would play we did like fundraiser shows that we would put on, and uh a lot of musicians' kids went to my school.
Wow.
So I got to perform with some really amazing musicians.
Oh, that's cool.
And like I got to play with Jacob Dylan and Stuart
Oh, wow.
Copeland and Chad Smith and all of these like really cool musicians because musicians gravitated towards our school and they sent their kids to our
Wow.
school. So
Wow. Talk about pressure to perform, huh?
yeah,
Like,
I,
I mean, if you were with it that long and they never kicked you out, like, you must have been doing
yeah,
something right.
I tried.
Wow.
It wasn't like dilapidated, what you think of when you think of music program gear. At least I got to. It was taken care of. The music teacher also knew how to maintain like all the instruments, and
Oh, very cool.
he didn't teach me what intonation was, but
Right? He probably didn't have to. He probably intonated your guitar.
he probably
But
did it all because that
yeah.
guitar sounded a lot better than mine. No matter how much I tuned my Telecaster, it was still pulling out of tune, and I figured it out eventually. But
So how does Joy P find gigs? Is it, I mean, I'm sure LA is a hotbed for any Friday or Saturday night. There's got to be an open venue somewhere,
yeah, we don't play. We play weekdays a lot because I work
right?
weekends.
Okay,
Uh,
yeah.
and I'm too tired to stay out late. I'm the sort of the party pooper of the band. They're like, "Oh yeah, we want to play a 9 p.m. gig on Friday." I'm like, "Girls, I have to be at work at 6 the next day. I
Yikes.
cannot do that."
Right. Yeah, right.
But it's a lot of just our bassist has been very good about sort of reaching out to people. Our singer, basically everybody but me is like really good at reaching out to people to get
That's cool.
to get our
That's
foot in
cool.
the door.
Awesome.
Um
Who formed the band?
I don't know who started it. I I found the guitar position on Craigslist, so they were already playing when I joined. I didn't know them.
Wow.
I decided that I was 29 years old looking at 30, and I was like there's so many things that I wanted to do that I'm not doing now. So I just
Nice.
got to do it. I wanted to keep playing music, so I have to join a band. I wanted to learn how to work on guitars, so I have to learn how to work on guitars. And it's just all sort of pushing myself. It's
Awesome.
like the plot of a low budget film.
Yeah, like cue the music and do a montage scene of
Yeah.
Emerson pushing herself to
Yeah.
go through the scales. You
Girl
gotta
thinks
make
that
it.
turning 30 is old, so she does everything that makes her feel young. Turns 30, realizes it's not old, and now she's just tired.
Yeah, 30 is not old at all. I don't even want to. I just turned 57, so I don't even want to hear
I'll keep saying it.
it. Absolutely, it's your mantra right now.
Yeah.
So when you started to do guitar repair, who was your first customer? What was the first? Was it just a setup and a restring? Was it? How did you start learning how to do it? Where did you go for? Was it that mentor guy? Did you, hey, I've got someone that needs intonation. Can you show me how to do it? Or
Uh,
what got you going?
it was, I mean, a lot of Stumac videos.
Yeah, yeah.
A lot of like kind of working on that first Telecaster that I had. I did my first setup on it. I did my first level and crown on it. I realized that I liked that guitar too much to like really make it my full test dummy. And I bought a whole bunch of like cheap guitar necks, some cheap guitar bodies, and
Smart.
intentionally mess them up so that I could figure out how to fix them,
Mm-hmm.
which greatly progressed my learning curve.
No
Because when
doubt.
I was worried about messing up my own gear,
Mm-hmm.
I would take things a lot more gingerly because I didn't want to mess it up.
Right.
When I'm hacking away at this eBay neck that I don't care about,
There you
I'm
go.
making mistakes left and right, and I'm, learning from those mistakes, and I'm learning how to correct those mistakes, and suddenly I'm learning twice as much as I thought I would be learning, and
Cool.
yeah.
And you just build confidence as you go. It's like, all right, this is my second refret. This is my third refret. Now I'm
Yeah.
doing refrets of binding.
Yeah, and then later on is when I moved into sort of like reaching out to people on Instagram or having people on Instagram reach out to me and going to their workshops and having them show me how to do stuff. And it's been a lot of like self-teaching, reinforcing through other people, self-teaching, reinforcing,
Mm-hmm.
you know.
And like you said, and on your Instagram, sharing tips and tricks. Do you do any promotions or anything? Do you like for me, I do 10% off your next service or something like that as a bounce back or something. To get
I have little and I'm just starting to kind of really roll these out, like little loyalty cards.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, I got a little stamp with my logo that people can bring back. I might change it up a little bit to kind of fine tune it, but I am working on, stuff like that. I also just do already. I can't help myself sometimes. A little extra stuff for people
Right.
that they don't necessarily pay for. So
You have to. Those are the repeat customers. So where can it's what's somewhere to leave your review? Do you have Google reviews right now?
I just got Yelp, but
Oh, okay.
that's a whole other thing. And since I don't list my address, I think Yelp is not as beneficial to me as it could be.
Good point.
I generally don't relinquish my address until the person has like confirmed that they will be dropping off. I'll give them a general area.
Do you find people that reach out to you, do they know you're an individual? Because I have people reaching out going, hey, do you guys, or does your business, does your company do this and that? Does your shop? And then it's not a first person communication.
Yeah.
They think I'm a company.
I've gotten that a little bit through Yelp, but I just established my Yelp page like 2 weeks ago. So
Oh, okay.
outside of Yelp, it's all Craigslist or Instagram.
Yeah.
And obviously everybody who finds me through Instagram knows that I am an individual, and I think Craigslist has already sort of assumed that that big shops with multiple people aren't posting.
Not allowed to. Yeah, right. Emerson, I ask everybody, there's always going to, and every interview, and especially with you, I always know there's going to be questions left unasked. And I hate that feeling. But I ask everyone at the end of every episode, and thank you for your time, man, especially you. You're all over the place. And to know that I was on your schedule, I feel honored. Thank you.
Of course. Thank you for reaching out.
Absolutely. I ask everyone the same question, and the responses are varied. I love it. I'm going to make a compilation of everyone's response in one episode.
Nice.
What if you're to pick 3 of your favorite guitar tunes to put on your Desert Island mixtape?
Oh no!
You're on a desert island. What 3 guitar tunes would you put on there?
Oh man, I feel like mine are going to be. I guess you said that you get a wide range of stuff.
Oh, totally. I got everything. Jack Brunson from Jack's Guitar Archaeology. He said Jerry Reed, The Claw by Jerry Reed. And then he said Dead Kennedys, East Bay Ray, Dead Kennedys. Varying within people, varying within responses.
First off, and it's just a little bit more general with the band, but I'll also pick a song from it. A band that I've been listening to a lot called Mama, that has, I don't know what exactly it is about their guitar parts, but I'm really drawn into the style that they have, and it feels like they're kind of playing all around on the neck, not in an overly technical way because it's very simple, but it's still very like kind of capturing or grabbing the way that they do their guitar stuff. And
Is that Mama, M-A-M-A?
Momma.
I like Mama, literally.
Yeah. It's very sort of kind of like indie girl rock teetering into not fully teetering, but Spotify keeps giving me punk bands when I listen to them, even though I don't think that fully fits. But apparently enough people kind of bounce between the two that it does it for me for some reason.
Cool. Do you find yourself gravitating towards female musicians?
Not necessarily. I think I kind of fall into periods of listening. So more recently, it's been a lot of female musicians or female fronted bands. So I've been listening to like bands like Mama and Wet Leg and that's a really fun one. I think they're from New Zealand.
Any particular song by Mama that you put on that mixtape?
Probably Medicine, because that's the first song that I heard by them, and that like hearing that guitar, I was like, I want to hear more of what they got, you know?
Nice. Is it something that you guys could probably cover in Joyfeed?
We absolutely could. I don't know. I don't know if they'll want to. I haven't even brought it up, but I play it all the time.
Personally on your guitar?
Yeah.
Yeah, cool.
It's a lot of drop D, but in a way that I'm not used to hearing like drop D, because I listened to a lot of like emo music when I was in high school and also now. So I'm used to like the drop D, open power chords really fast, whatever, trying to make it sound dark and like gritty.
Yeah.
A lot of grr music.
There
but
you go.
They do it and it's still kind of almost like sparkly sounding. They do drop D, but they still play up in the higher strings a lot too.
Cool.
So
Mama Medicine.
Mm-hmm.
All right. I'll check them out, definitely.
Yeah.
When I discovered drop D back in the early 90s.
Game changer.
With Soundgarden and Alice in Chains. And I was like, uh-oh, this is a whole new world right here.
Yeah.
Suddenly you're playing completely different things.
Yeah, exactly. It's funny that you mentioned Soundgarden. I was probably going to do something by Audio Slave next.
Oh, nice.
Good choice. Maybe.
Good choice. So Tom Morello would be an influence of yours?
I think so, especially more recently. My band we cover an Audio Slave song. So
Which one?
Getaway Car. Slow it down a bit.
Oh, nice. Okay.
We play a lot of music that my dad likes. It's really fun.
Is your dad still like that?
We had a show on Wednesday where we played. I think we played Audio Slave. We played Temple of the Dog. We played.
I love Temple.
All that stuff.
Which Temple of the Dog do you play?
Hunger Strike, which. For one guitarist, it's not very fun to play because I play the whole same thing through the whole song, but my band likes it, and my dad liked it because he was at the show.
Nice.
I saw him lean over and whisper to my stepmom, and I know exactly what he said. I couldn't hear him, but I just know him really well. He leaned over and he probably went, "It's Temple of the Dog," and then he leaned back.
Nice. Who does the harmonization on that? Is it just the singer doing the one thing, or?
It's the singer and the bass player. We kind of take turns doing backup vocals for certain songs, just kind of based on, how complicated what we're playing is and my willingness to do it, because I don't like tuning.
Yeah, I hate it.
So essentially,
engaging your right and left brain to play and sing at the same time.
Yeah,
I'm not good at that at all.
Especially like with some of if it's more than strumming and singing on the same beat, I can do it. I don't want to do it. Yeah. If the bass player is willing to do it, if Marie's willing to do it, then Marie's doing it. And that's
Okay.
kind of how we figure it out, is whether or not Marie's willing to do it.
Are you committed to Audio Slave? Is your second song?
I'm not sure. I might jump to a different one and then figure out my third if I'm committed to Audio Slave.
Sure. Okay. Okay.
I don't know, I'm just kind of going by what I'm playing a lot right now too, because it's like stuck in my head and I'm having so much fun playing it.
Sure.
Uh, Cake's cover of "I Will Survive"
Okay.
is a very fun one, and I love playing that solo. It's so much fun.
Is Cake still doing it? Are they still
uh,
around?
I don't know. We're doing it,
Yeah, right.
but
I Will Survive. How close is it to the original disco version?
it's pretty different. I mean, it's obviously the same words, but the really cool thing about Cake covers is they take the song and they make it just something different, like something really different. Same with like their War Pigs cover.
Now that
Uh,
I've heard, and I'm a huge Black Sabbath fan, so I had to hear that one.
yeah, and it's crazy because it's obviously the song that they're covering, but
Mhm.
the way that they're able to kind of make it into their own thing without completely abandoning the basis, I think is really interesting. And I'd love to be able to do a cover like that with my band where we recreate it as our own thing.
Cool. And just kind of
So
take the audience by surprise, like, oh, we know that song, but not in that way.
yeah,
Uh,
because does the disco version of "I Will Survive" even have like a 17 bar guitar solo? I don't think it does. Yeah.
no, no, yeah, guitar
There you
solo and
go.
disco.
That might give you the answer that you need.
There, 17 bars. Wow.
Yeah, I
Nice.
counted because I was really frustrated when I thought we were gonna my band introduced it as a cover option for one of our shows a week and a half out.
Wow.
So I went through and I counted the bars for the solo so I could tell them why that was so mean of them.
And it's mostly on your telly, right?
Y- Yeah, I think at that time I play I was probably playing my Strat more.
Oh, okay. The
I
black
haven't
spot.
Yeah, the only telly that I've gigged with is that yellow one from Flagpole Sitta, and that was like I was only playing that one that show because I painted it myself and done a whole bunch of work on it, and I was really excited. That was my first time playing live since I was 18 years old, I think. So
Wow.
it was just an open mic, but it still felt pretty monumental to me.
Absolutely. That's cool.
Yeah,
That's very cool. Yeah, I'm a huge Tony Iommi fan. I'm a giant Black Sabbath fan.
nice.
And that's probably the stuff your dad listened to.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He loves it
Oh,
when we
man.
do the cake version of War Pigs, though. When he saw that we did that, he bothered me for weeks to get the video of us playing it.
Oh,
And I finally had to have my girlfriend text it to my dad. Yeah, it's a very fun and it's just a fun version of the song. It's fun to play.
cool, cool. And then song number three. Do
Song number three.
you find yourself listening to jazz nowadays at all, or Spotify doesn't know how to figure out my algorithm? Every year, do
Spotify.
you do Spotify?
I do Spotify and I'm very annoyed with it right now.
Because of the punk rock algorithm they think that you're currently on, or
It's just no matter what I try to play, it's like there's no nuance in anything with Spotify. So if I play something uh that's even considered to be like close to not even close, just not far from another
okay, okay,
song.
okay.
For example, I'll put on a radio for I had like Daft Punk radio playing, and no
Uh-huh.
matter what radio I have playing, Hey by the Pixies will be like the second song that pops up.
Yeah, they need to refresh that for sure.
It's almost unless I start like playing rap,
Uh-huh.
Hey by
Right.
the Pixies will play as almost
Huh.
always the next song, and
Son of a gun. That doesn't even follow the feel.
exactly. It's
Huh.
just so and it's bad. It's not bad. It's frustrating because I listen to Hey a lot because my band covers the song, and there are songs that I have to listen to over and over and over again
Sure.
because I'm
Sure.
practicing, and suddenly those songs will always be what comes up unless I'm listening to like the opposite genre. So
Huh.
I'll start trying to listen to a playlist or like have a radio play based on a song that I picked,
Mhm.
and essentially suddenly my set list for for my band starts playing. I'm
Huh.
like, I don't want
Oh,
to
weird.
listen. I don't want to listen to
Huh.
Stone Temple Pilots. I don't want to listen to the Pixies. I want to listen to something else, and Spotify
Yeah.
won't play anything but the same 20 songs.
Have you ever taken a really good look at your end of the year wrap up from Spotify? You're like, wow, I listen to that too the most, or this genre, this many minutes.
Yeah.
Because I hate to say it, I like classical music.
I'm not-
And it's one of my guilty pleasures, I think. And one of them would be Chopin, right? And I'll even listen to it when I'm working on guitars, just because I don't have to listen to words, or I want my brain to be more focused. I feel more focused with instrumental music,
Mhm.
right? And then that ends up being class. So suddenly my end of the year is like Chopin is your number one band. And you know
Yeah.
what? It's like, wow, really? It is? I don't even pay that much attention to it. But
Yeah.
and that's why I'm sure Spotify's like, dude, now you're listening to John Coltrane, and just yesterday you're listening to Led Zeppelin. Where the fuck are you coming from?
Yeah.
They probably think I'm a loon or something. It's like, no, I'm just very eclectic tastes.
Exactly.
Yeah. So song number two or number three would be
I think as of recently, I haven't been listening to them a lot, but I'm always interested in the overall music of the Chili Peppers. You know,
really
obviously
good choice. Really good choice.
John's guitar, and I've
Oh,
as it's really cool because as a player, I feel like I'll hit almost like little moments of clarity where suddenly things that seemed really hard for me don't seem really hard. Concepts that have escaped me are really clear in my head, and then I'll listen to something like, you know, John's guitar parts and the Chili Peppers, and I'm able to visualize what he's doing even though I've like never played that song. And
absolutely.
it is like it doesn't happen super often, I would say, and not in like necessarily a bad way, but guitar always feels like a bit of a friction thing for me where it's like, okay, I'm fighting through to get what I want.
Uh-huh.
And it's I guess it's almost like working out where it's never like,
Right.
oh, this feels awesome while I'm doing it.
Mm-hmm.
But
Mm-hmm.
every once in a while, I'd say every few months, I'll hit the point where it's like, oh, everything feels effortless. Everything makes sense to me. I hear these sounds and I'm able to visualize what's happening.
Cool.
And uh
I know that feeling.
yeah,
I know
like
exactly what you're saying.
yeah, I'll be like listening. And I think I was in that moment when I first heard Mama too, which is why I'm like really
There you
roped
go.
in on it because I heard the music and I saw like the guitar being played and it's like I've never heard the song before. Why do I know it's happening and why does it
Yeah.
um and I must, you know, I always try to tap into something when I hit that moment to almost like re-understand what is happening.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the
Mm-hmm.
Chili Peppers is always, you know, a really cool
Cruciani,
one.
absolutely. I'm a huge Hendrix fan, and Cruciani, he feeds that Hendrix need, like Mike McCready with Pearl Jam. I get a lot of that Hendrix vibe, and I've
Yeah.
always gravitated to that.
And it's
Definitely.
cool too because it's not just like the isolation of the guitar, but the way that he's able to interact with Flea.
Oh,
'Cause
absolutely.
everything that Flea is playing is like standalone. That's so crazy, and it could be so cool. And then John's able to like they're able to, you know, the balance that happens in there outside of
There's a
just like the
synergy.
actual playing
Yeah.
and talent.
And that's what's
So
so cool about the Chili Peppers is it's almost like they're camouflaged as a pop rock. Yeah, like it's deceiving how good it is. They're so good that your ear really just gets caught up in, the groove and the vibe, and how simple it's deceivingly simplistic.
and
Because when you
it's
really
funny
dive into
too.
what they're doing, it's like, damn, these guys are really technically proficient.
Yeah, and it's funny because like lyrically, I don't, you know, I don't feel super strongly about the lyrics either way.
Mhm.
I know that they get a lot of slack for
It's
just,
just another
oh,
instrument.
it's a
You know what I mean?
California band being about California or whatever,
Yeah.
and it's almost like it overshadows just how talented the musicians are behind it.
Good point. Good point.
Um,
And I started approaching the lyrics as just another instrument. And when you do
yeah.
that, it's like I don't care what they're singing about, because obviously sometimes it's poetic, sometimes it's really not. But it's just another dude on stage being part of that chemistry.
Mhm. I think like as far as examples of a band go and the ability to really blend or meld into each other, that that's a band that I kind of want to, maybe not necessarily the sound, but just how well they play together, how much energy they're able to put into it, and how they're all able to do really cool, interesting things individually and make it work together. Because so many bands I feel like are centered around like, oh yeah, everyone in this band is like pretty good, but this guitarist is what makes it. Or like, like
Mm-hmm.
Blink 182 is like, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
the guys are pretty cool, but it's really like Travis who is
Mm-hmm.
able to uplift. And I feel like each of the musicians in the Chili Peppers would be able to, are able to hold their own and be the highlight in their own way.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I hate to sound like an old geezer because honestly, I think that's getting rarer and rarer. I follow Rick Beato on YouTube, and the other day he posted a video. Where the hell is the music industry going? Bands really almost don't exist anymore. In the top 100 tunes that are played on
Yeah.
Spotify, he takes Spotify as his basis of his
Mhm.
statistics, and it's almost true. Bands really are kind of dying away, and it's kind of sad, really,
Yeah.
because that chemistry is it's just a whole nother level, whole nother level. You get to see a lot of shows in LA. I'm sure you do, right?
I definitely have the opportunity to. I
Uh,
don't.
you don't have
I'm
the
very much,
time. You don't have the
yeah, I'm
time to
also
see
very much
it.
a homebody. And I
Sure.
think part of the reason that I thought of the Chili Peppers though is recently they had a show near me
Uh-huh.
where I live, and I was taking my dog out and I heard them like playing live
Oh,
in my neighborhood.
oh,
I live really
oh,
close to some pretty cool venues, some of which are loud enough to be heard uh
wow.
just from my front door.
Did you just hang out and listen to the show from the distance, or
Yeah.
yeah? Oh,
Yeah.
I would too, definitely.
Yeah, I just sat on my front patio for a little bit.
Well, I would too, definitely. Wow, I'm envious. What was the last concert you've been to?
The last one that I went to, it was a really interesting thing called emo orchestra, where one of the bands that I listened to a lot in high school was playing with a full live orchestra.
Who's that? Who was it?
It's called Escape the Fate,
Okay.
and it was really cool. It was not what I was expecting at all.
Man,
They,
so envious.
yeah,
And LA is the kind of location for those kind of gigs like that, little creative outlets like that. We don't get that here in Charlotte.
yeah. I mean, it was a really small show. It was in a little theater.
Oh,
Um,
cool.
it was very much like catered to an orchestra type of feel, even
Wow.
though there was a full sort of kind of emo band playing at full power.
Wow.
It wasn't like a proper, stand up go crazy gig.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. They're just
Outside of
right.
that, yeah, because outside of that, I'm trying to think. I've been to a few like festivals in Vegas. I will say that one of
Oh,
the coolest shows that I've been to was I saw Soundgarden with my dad.
what year was that?
2011, I think, 2010. I was still in high
Oh,
school.
wow. That must have been a reunion show. That wasn't even, they
It
weren't even
was a
together.
reunion show,
The
yeah.
reunion, that's right. I remember they all got back together for a while.
Yeah.
Man, Kim Thayil is an incredible guitarist. Where that guy is coming from, no one will ever know. He is the most erratic, kick ass. Everything sounds, if you really pick it apart as a guitar player, it's like there's no freaking way. We were just talking about that. I could see the fingers playing that tune. I could
Yeah.
see. I can't know where Kim Farrell's coming from.
Yeah.
That guy is all over the place, man. Just and it
Yeah.
sounds right. It's wrong, but it sounds so freaking right in the
Yeah.
context of the tune. Just amazing stuff. Well, Emerson, thank you so much. I'm taking up more of your time than I need to. I really appreciate you sitting down with me and chatting. It's great to get to know you, your Instagram, now that I can put a conversation to the face. Did you find it hard to start posting videos showing you talking?
I
Was it
found
a,
it hard posting videos just with my voice in general. I hate, I hate making videos.
okay,
I don't like social media very much. I
okay.
don't like filming. I don't like editing.
Wow, you can't tell. You're doing it really well.
Thank you. I is my big problem is I love the effects that it produces. So I have to like grit my teeth through all of the steps of getting a video out because I love getting the video out.
Okay, yeah, yeah. And your following is increment. I mean, it's like leaps and bounds, just exploding.
Yeah, it's crazy. I don't know why. I mean, I'm stoked on it and I'm so glad that people are finding what I'm posting interesting and helpful, but I couldn't tell you what I'm doing to make it work, and I certainly wouldn't be able to recreate it if somebody held a gun to my head.
It's awesome to watch. It really is. I have to
Thank
ask, and this will be off the record. Uh, I'm scrolling through your posts. You have one on shielding painting. Would you prefer shielding paint over shielding tape, or does it depend on the guitar and what you're? This is a tech to tech question.
I I think as far as the thing that I've noticed with paint is you have to like pile it on so much for it to actually work. It's more kind of dependent on how much time I have and just the shape of the cavity.
Okay. And I think you
Um,
said that in the video, if I'm not mistaken. You said you need to do
yeah,
several coats.
several coats and it has to fully cure. But usually, I think usually I'll more so reach for the tape than the paint. It's just
Okay.
the amount of time and effort that goes into doing the amount of effort that goes into doing the tape is like not super appealing to me, but if I actually want, you know, the quicker result,
Mm-hmm.
but you know, I'm still
Wait, I'm sorry. Quicker result would be the tape of the pen.
the tape as
Okay.
far as quicker as far as like from start to finish
Okay. And
versus
shaping and cutting that tape is pretty quick process, really.
it's
It's
not
quick
super
shaping.
quick for me. I'm not super good at it.
It takes a
uh,
lot of I left that
yeah.
little patch and you just need to make
My
that.
hands get all crampy. I've had a lot of wrist surgery.
Uh,
My hands get all crampy. So I like doing the paint for that reason, even though
okay.
the extended time of waiting for it to dry and redoing it and stuff like that.
All right.
But
Well, then that leaves me hand cramping. In fact, you're the one that inspired me to get the frettalizer, fret polisher. The school that I learned guitar tech with, he uses triple aught steel wool. You put the shield on there and you do the steel wool, right? What are you saying? Don't do that.
I just don't like that hurts my hands.
Yeah, well, and so then I was like, okay, this fertilizer, and I saw your post on it and other posts. Uh, Tanya in the Ukraine got
Yeah.
one, and she was using. I'm like, damn, those frets are sparkly, shiny. Those are
Yeah.
nice. And so I ordered one. It took a while because it came from Germany.
Yeah.
But damn it, I steel wool was one pass down the fretboard. Fertilizer was four passes through the different grits, and by the end, my hand was like, ah. Do you
Yeah.
find that that's the case for you, or is it just ergonomically just right for your hand to grip that
I think
block? I mean,
ergonomically it's a bit better and just
okay,
you know, like once I figured out it took me a little while to like figure out like the best way for me to hold it because at
okay.
first it was really awkward and I didn't know that there was a rubber band in there to hold the stuff on, so I was like gripping it really oddly from the side.
Oh, but that was painful. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. But I think once I got once I got down like the system down and stuff,
Yeah.
I do especially because I use it after like doing a level and crown, and I'll use it with like sandpaper too to help
Yeah.
with that.
Okay. Okay.
Uh, but as long as I remind myself, it takes a little bit more time. I think I get like better results though. And as long as I remind myself not to grip it too tight,
Sure.
my hands feel fine.
Okay.
Because
More so
I
than it
was,
would with a piece of steel wool.
yeah, because I was like, I get to the point where at the end I'm holding it and I'm like squeezing it and going, and that's when my hands start to hurt. But if I just have to remind myself like, okay, keep a gentle grip
Yeah.
and don't push too hard is the other thing.
Right. Right.
And I keep having to, it's my brain is like, go fast, push down really hard so you can get it done
Mhm.
faster, and it's just
That's something that we tend to forget too, is there are ergonomics to what we do. And if you don't
yeah,
walk away at the end of the day going, good grief, that took a lot of
yeah,
effort. And it really doesn't have to.
no, and I have to keep telling myself, let the tool do the work.
Yes, that's a
I,
great
all
mantra.
the time I keep saying to myself when I'm rounding off fret ends, when I'm polishing frets, when I'm doing a lot of stuff that I could I could be putting a lot of pressure on it, but I don't have to. I have to always tell myself, let the tool do the work. Don't grip the hell out of this thing and go
Yeah,
for it. Don't try to push it into the fret when you're rounding off the ends. Take off more material more quickly. Just
right. How did you do it before the throttleizer?
um I was doing well, I was mostly just using like the rotary tool and
Oh, like a Dremel tool?
mhm,
Okay, okay.
which was getting them kind of shiny, but I wasn't because I got this pretty early in too. Timothy
Oh, yeah.
reached out to me to try it out.
You see the guy who invented it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So I was getting them really shiny, but I wasn't like getting them, I wasn't buffing them
Oh,
as
right.
much.
I got you.
So they were shiny, but you could still see the scratches in them.
Yeah. And then what do you think of, and I'm going through your posts again here. What do you think of the fractal press?
I like it a lot. I got it to work with my jaws too,
Okay,
which
so you do the vice grip jaws?
I have the jaws and I worked on it with that, and I think I will say I thought that I would use them more for like reseating frets.
Hmm.
Uh Jeremy did tell me when I got the conversion kit that they work better in the arbor press or in the drill press, but I don't have a handy. Well, I just got an arbor press actually, so I do have that, but I didn't
Oh,
have a
nice.
handy, like available, easy to set up press system.
Hmm.
I think
Hmm.
for reseating without glue, I love it a lot. It's a bit here I can pull it out.
So you have to basically then you're forgetting about the oh yeah, nice.
Yeah. So you
Man,
can
and
see
Tanya, did you notice Tanya used one and she actually
she
had her
I
logo
know.
engraved on it?
I
That's
think
so
if I
cool.
had a logo, he would have done one for me. I don't
Oh, he
know.
did it for her. Sure, of course.
Yeah, he sent a few out to a few creators where he laser engraved their logo into it.
Oh, nice.
And
So with the fractal press, my understanding is you won't need to worry about the radius because it's finding a radius. Is that right?
yeah, and it's incredible for that. It does, and especially when you're getting on fret ends, right? It's where you want it to kind of curl in a little bit if you're doing a
Hmm.
refret.
Hmm.
This if you're doing it, this foot will start to curl in and push it in, so you get that going.
Okay.
Um,
What if I was doing a 7 string or a 9 string guitar? Does it reach out to that level or is that a different head?
it's pretty narrow, and that's why I was saying this is better for like refrets or I've had to start using my regular StuMac inserts when I
Mm-hmm.
do kind of glue downs because you can see
Hmm.
it's pretty narrow. So
Hmm. Hmm.
as far as kind of using it to clamp stuff down,
Hmm.
it's not the greatest, but
Gotcha.
If you're doing a regular refret, you know, it's kind of like using a hammer, but where the hammer doesn't cover the whole fret, but if you're getting it in there, it's good. So
Okay.
that's why he was telling me, and I should have just assumed that he was right when he told me, because this is the man who made it. But
Yeah, right.
it's better in a press because you can press it, slide it over, press it, slide it over,
Cool.
versus the clamps. I have to clamp it, unclamp it, move it, clamp it, unclamp it, move it.
Wow. Yeah. Do you find yourself like, I'm sure you have a box full of tools that have been sent to you that you're about to do videos on. Do you have a schedule like, now I'm going to do this one, now I'm going to do pots, now I'm going to do the flagpole press, now I'm going to do, you schedule it out, or is it, hey, I happen to be doing this job on this guitar, might as well do a video about this?
I just bought a planner last week, so I'm trying to get a little bit more organized. This all happened so quickly that I was not like. That's why when you messaged me, I meant to message you back. I got caught up in everything that I was doing. I'm not used to being this busy in my life.
That is awesome. That is so cool, Emerson.
Yeah, I just got a planner, and I'm trying to schedule out as much as I can while still leaving room for natural sort of. Okay, this is something that I wanted to be able to do a video on, and it's naturally come up without sort of fully booking myself in. We'll see how it works. Everything changes every day because I still don't know what I'm doing. I was planning on just the repair side of things. I wasn't expecting a whole social media boom.
And you're embracing it and you're doing it so freaking awesomely. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's working out. Emerson, thank you again for joining me. Super cool to get to know you. And I'll definitely be in touch on a regular basis just to say, hey, reach out to me as well. And please don't be a stranger.